Is Jasmy done? Well, apparently not. Supposedly, they're going to be hosting an event at their office. Now, let me explain what this is, even though the price isn't doing the best, and even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Jangshin, which is an incubation project under Jasmy, and Jangshin is really focused on AI. But besides that, they recently made a post saying how tomorrow Jangshin will support an event hosted by AI Business Lab as a venue sponsor. Now, that event may have already happened by the time I upload this video, or it may not. But besides that, this is kind of symbolic in my opinion, because even the CFO of Jasmy, he made a response to this post basically saying how, again, tomorrow they'll be hosting an event organized by a community of AI business labs, but he actually misspelled labs. He spelled it LAS instead of LABS. But besides that, it's going to be at the Jasmy office in Tokyo. So yeah, it's pretty cool in my opinion. When I take a look at this right here, it is pretty interesting because if I take a look at Jasmy, a lot of people like to say, wow, it's really doing nothing, Jangshin, it's cooked. But apparently they're still doing things behind the scenes. If anything, I think this does strengthen their focus when it comes to AI, especially in regard to Jangshin. I don't really see much going on when it comes to Jasmy though, but in the meantime, if something does happen that's pretty positive when it comes to Jangshin, I think that it could indirectly somewhat affect Jasmy as well. So I don't think it's all negative, at least personally for me currently. Now, of course, I get it. People like to say, wow, take a look at the pullback. Who cares about this? Well, if we take a look at it, yes, the price isn't doing the best, but, you know, Jasmy's only been down around basically 4.5% in the past 7 days, which isn't too bad. It's not good, but it's not too bad considering how a lot of other projects out there in the past week are down like what, 20-30% in some cases. But besides that, if we take a look at just Jasmy overall, we have to consider when it comes to the world of stocks, AI is such a big narrative as of right now, but it's not really when it comes to this space as of late. So the more that Jangshin could bolster its AI focus, be it through an event or anything, or let's say a new partnership, whatever that may be, if it could even just do anything that kind of bolsters its focus when it comes to AI, I think it's a net positive at the end of the day. Because Jasmy's already set in terms of being focused on data storage. They already have that locked down in a sense where we already know that Jasmy's really focused on data storage. We already know its capabilities. It doesn't really need to do much more beyond that. One thing that it's kind of missing though is the aspect of AI, which is why we take a look at something like Jangshin, in which case that is really focused on AI. If that gains better adoption for whatever reason, if the market were to take off, Jasmy by extension I think could hypothetically go along with the ride. So they're creating more pathways and avenues, in my opinion, to hypothetical notoriety, in a sense where if, let's say, for whatever reason, data storage doesn't work too well, they have AI. But if, let's say, for whatever reason, their focus when it comes to AI doesn't really work, well, back to data storage it is. So they have two pathways. But then, of course, if both kind of takes off, then it's a party, right? But at the same time, if one fails, the other one is there. But if the other one fails, the other one is there, if that kind of makes sense. There's a plan A, there's a plan B here. So I don't view it as necessarily such a bad thing. Now, do I think Jasmy should focus on a bunch of other random markets? No, not really. That's kind of enough, right? Jangshin being focused on AI, Jasmy being focused on data storage. Just try to get better at that. But in my opinion, if they could do it properly, that's all it kind of needs. Because even if we take a look at Jasmy, as of right now, even though data storage, the niche isn't too popping, right? It's not too good as of right now. The market isn't doing the best. Bitcoin is well below 80,000. Despite all that, Jasmy's current market cap, surprisingly, is still around 270 million. In which case, we have to consider this. It may seem like a bad thing at first glance, which I'm totally aware why that would seem to be the case. But if we consider how Jasmy back in December of 2024 was at around a 2.2 billion market cap, we're like over 7 times lower than that, which again may sound a little bit kind of ridiculous. But we have to take a look at some legends in the case of the stock market. Take a look at Warren Buffett. Is he angry when there's low prices? Well, not really. Take a look at when he first believed in Coca-Cola, or when Berkshire Hathaway first believed in Apple, right? They hold a lot of Apple stocks. So that's the thing. Low prices, it depends on the frame of mind, because if I'm taking a look at this moment and just taking a look at it purely from a face value standpoint of view, my initial reaction is, of course, wow, this is doing so bad. But if I'm dollar cost averaging at this moment, and let's say it goes back to around a 2.2 billion market cap, I have zero complaints. Sometimes people like to ask me, oh, well, why don't you wait for a billion in terms of market cap before you care about this again? Well, in theory, I could do that, but if I started believing again at around a billion in terms of market cap, we're over 3 times more than that. So I already kind of missed the initial journey, the initial step, if I wait later. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but personally for me, when I believe in a project, I just hold and wait anyways, so I'm not hurrying for anything. Like, I'm not in a rush, basically. I don't mind waiting for years. So if I take a look at historically, people who hold the S&P 500 for quite a while, like there are some ups and downs along the way. But sometimes their mindset is years, in which case my mindset is also years when it comes to this space. I can't wave some magic wand and demand the price to do this or do that. I'm not Harry Potter. I can't do that. Personally, all I can do is just stay patient with the projects that I'm a fan of. But if we have to consider as well, I know it may sound kind of silly even caring about an event in regard to what's going to be going on at the Jasmy office in Tokyo, Japan, but I think it goes far beyond that, because a lot of these projects are community driven, right? So of course, if they have an event, in which case the CFO of Jasmy says, feel free to stop by for whatever reason, that is, I think, a pretty fantastic thing, because this gives a chance for the community to actually maybe interact with Jasmy and its team and maybe learn more about Jangshin. So I don't think it's a negative thing. Again, if a project is very community driven, which a lot of projects are within this space, and they're doing something in regard to not only AI, but also an event, I think it's a net positive. It's not the best thing of all time, but I still think it's pretty impressive. So when people like to say, wow, this event seems so lame and all this, okay, sure, maybe it's not as cool as Coachella, but at the same time, it's still an event. They're still doing something. So just as everyone thought, oh, Jasmy's not caring anymore, Jangshin's not doing anything, the CFO of Jasmy apparently confirmed how there's going to be an event at the Jasmy office in Tokyo, Japan, which I find pretty interesting. However, again, when I take a look at Jasmy overall, I still find it pretty cool, pretty interesting. I think the emphasis when it comes to data storage, maybe, the niche isn't the most popular, but if it were to gain traction again, Jasmy is waiting right there. It doesn't have to chase later on. And now, especially through Jangshin, and we take a look at its focus when it comes to AI, again, like I mentioned earlier on this video, Jasmy can either make it through data storage or maybe AI through Jangshin, but whichever way, it's preparing right now, so it doesn't have to chase later on. But it's an only time will tell type of scenario. There's no way I can know when the market could pick up, but I'm going to stay patient and just wait it out. That's it, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you all have a very nice day. Hopefully, I'll stay tuned for future upcoming videos. It's Wendy the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.